Hello everyone, this is Amanda Ellis of amandaellis.co.uk and Facebook page Angelic Celestial Colours. Making this video for you today on November the 3rd, 2014, and it is really looking at the month ahead, so what we can expect going forward into November. Before we get into that though, we really have to talk about one of the key dates of this month ahead, which is the 11th of November. Now, 11th of November is always a key date because it's Armistice Day, but beyond that this year, well, in fact, not really just beyond that this year, because the same thing actually happened last year as well. Last year I actually launched all the new Metatron sprays on that day because it felt as though it was a really important date. 11 is linked into Archangel Metatron's energy, and it was as though there was a great big flood of new energy that came in last year on the 11th of November. Well, the same thing is actually happening again. And so I've been called by Metatron to bring together a group of people on the 11th of November in Bournemouth. There's about 20 of us meeting, and we're really going to be connecting into Archangel Metatron's energy, as well as running through some meditations, creating some healing mandalas, and much more. In fact, this morning Metatron was talking about the need to also connect into Egypt and Luxor in particular to retrieve some ancient wisdom which maybe we haven't been able to access yet before. So it's quite exciting stuff coming up on the 11th. There are still a few spaces if anybody wants to join me at that event. You need to email me. Or the other way you can connect with me and the group on the 11th is through two meditations that I've recorded this morning. Both of them are 25 minutes long, and they're intended to be done on the 11th and then thereafter because they connect into the energy of that day. They are £11 for the both of them, and you download them onto your computer via an email link that I send to you. So you can let me know if you would like to receive any of those. So for now, maybe we'll come back to talking about the 11th in the session, but I just would like to shuffle some of the cards, excuse me, that I've got in front of me and see what the energy of November is looking like for all of us. Because I don't know about you, but October felt quite challenging and quite difficult. And we had those two powerful eclipses, didn't we? And I know a lot of you were left reeling really from that and found it a very tricky month to navigate. Some people also didn't really, weren't able to really face it full on. And it was as though some people went into almost like a hibernation mode. So this month is about coming out of that. It feels a more gentle month ahead. Apart from this pivotal date, as I say, of the 11th, which is very much about bringing in new light, but also can be challenging for those that don't really open up to accept the gifts that are there on the 11th. Okay, so let's just focus in on November for now, and I'm going to just pull 11 cards, apparently, for that. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, right. Using a new deck today. I'm using this one, which is, I don't know, I just like to change my decks around. This is, I think, called the 5th Tarot deck. It's it relates to the elements, which is why I like it. So it has the elements of wind and fire and earth and water and air in it as well. So it's quite interesting. It's not a conventional deck of cards. And I'm not particularly trained in them, so I really am just purely going on intuition here and what Metatron is saying to me to say to you. So don't look up the meanings of the cards if you have them, because it won't necessarily tally with what I'm going to be talking to you about here. Before we do that, before we look at what I've got in front of me, I'm just going to spray now this new, can you see there, this is the new attunement and connection spray linked into Archangel Metatron that really we're launching on the 11th. But I've got here, it's sort of like a sneak preview. It's got a very strong smell, and it is cloves, in particular orange, frankincense, like a sweet orange and clove smell. It's also really active, and I'm looking at my fingers because I don't know whether you can see this. Can you actually see that there are can you see that? It's like the energy is just dropping out of it. This bottle isn't full either. You can see I've used quite a bit of it. And what's happening is that, I mean, it can't leak just by standing here like this. the energy just wants to escape and it wants to be out there helping us. And as crazy as it sounds, that's what happens with colour energy. So I'm going to spray this around me now. And I'd just like you to connect into this orange ray of light as well. So we're asking Metatron to come in with his gifts of abundance and blessings. This spray not only has the Merkaba energy within it, it also has been made with crystals which are platonic solid crystals. So it's really pretty powerful spray, this. So I'm just going to tune into what he wants me to say at this point to you. Feel my fire light. Feel the warmth and the softness of my embrace, yet the strength and the courage that is also there. Truly, many of you I know are battle weary and finding the going tough. This new orange energy that is being brought through for you on the 11th and is already here now on your planet is about wrapping yourself with this orange ray to absorb much of the shock of the past, including the past month, but to also give you the willpower and the strength and the courage to carry on. It is going to illuminate your path. It is about lighting the way so you can take the next steps that you need to take for the rest of this year and going into next year. And what I'm being shown is a beautiful pathway that is opening up for each of us for next year, but it's like we're on the brink of it. It's like we're at the start of the gateway of this new path. And that pathway is lit by these beautiful orange flames. And it feels safe. It feels illuminated is the word I'm getting. But it just feels a path that is full of excitement and new beginnings, new opportunities, new possibilities for all of us. And that links into some of the cards that I've got here for November. The first one that came out is this card, which is it's called Radiance. Can you see that image? So it's the image of a man opening. This pose here, opening like that, is very much about opening to receive. You know, we have our heart center here, and so much of the time, energetically, what we do when we're going through a difficult period is we huddle ourselves like this. You know, it's as though we protect ourselves and keep ourselves small because, you know, we don't want to be hurt. Whereas what November is about opening up to the help that is there for you. So he has that pose, this man, and he very much is sort of, it feels like a vortex type energy coming in to help him upward on his path. So this is the spiritual path that we are all on, and it's about radiance. It's about, I feel here, it's about gifts that are coming in for us. We've got one of the major arcana cards next, which is the Chariot. Again, this is, you know, I love the image of this actually. It's like the sea is parting, and whatever has seemed impossible, as though, you know, it just cannot be achieved, it cannot be done. The waves are being parted here, and actually the man in the chariot here is moving through very quickly through his challenges and through the difficult times to a new beginning. And it's like he's holding that light that I'm just describing to you there. I mean, it's depicted here as a golden light that he's holding, but what Metatron is showing me is it's an orange light that's beaming the way forward. And there are easier, calmer waters ahead. We also have, it does feel like a very strong male energy this month. It feels like it's a month for doing, because all of the cards that I've got here have got, with the exception of one, is the depiction of men. So I've got this one as well, which is Cosmic Man. Okay, so again, this is interesting because in number 10, we have the upward movement. It feels like there's an upward movement here. And in this one, there is a downward movement. Can you see that? The man is actually sinking down. So to me, this is about the merging of what we call sort of the Father God energy and the Mother Earth energy coming down. And if we look at the Merkaba, which I've got one here. Just reach across. Sorry, that's my leg shaking the camera. Sorry about that. We have the two triangles. I've talked about this before, the tetrahedron. The tetrahedron that points upward is the male energy, and the one that points downward is the more feminine energy. So although actually we don't have many female images on these cards, it does feel as though, again, this is another sign to be working with the Merkaba energy very strongly this month of November. You know, I feel as I want to say November is Metatron's month. You know, it is the month of with 11 in it. And 11 is the master number, very much associated with Archangel Metatron, the dark and the light. And so this month, I'm not saying it's all plain sailing. I think actually collectively for the world, there are some quite big troubles ahead. Hopefully I'm wrong there, but it does feel as though that could be on the horizon. But for us personally, it's about not focusing in on that, but focusing in on the light. There is always a choice as to what we focus in on. And the Merkaba really sort of reminds us of that, because it is a fifth dimensional tool that reminds us to stop looking at the world through what we call a third dimensional consciousness, where we're caught up in our dramas and our day-to-day life and materialism and things that really keep us off our spiritual path. So the Merkaba, you know, we have this around us, is when we are within it and when we are aware of its structure around us, it's holding us in that fifth dimensional consciousness of love and compassion and the understanding that we are all connected. Wherever we are in the world, we are all connected, and that if you suffer, I also suffer. If you have joy, I also can have joy. And it is just that unity consciousness. So that feels very appropriate, particularly for this month. We also have a beautiful card here, which is the card of alchemy and magic. It feels as though there was magic in the air this month. I love this card. And if you look at that, the symbols within that is actually, they are the Platonic solid symbols as well. And I teach about this in Metatron Level 1 in particular, which they're the building blocks of life. So it feels within this card of magic and alchemy, it's saying not only are there possibilities, there is the possibility for magic to happen, for the unusual to happen, for something to come in that we really are not expecting, that maybe we've given up on, that real magic can happen in our lives. Again, we have the support of the elements here. We have the sun and we have the moon energy, and we have the element of fire, and we have the element of, it's really the void, it's sort of going into the void. We've also got the green of nature as well. So there's a real feeling that forward direction in life as well is about connecting into the elements this month. I'm making this video in the UK, you know, we're heading into winter time, so you become much more aware of the elements of the wind and the rain and the thunder and the lightning and the darker nights, and obviously then when you get a beautiful bright sunny day, you're really more aware of it than if you were living in a country where you have guaranteed sunshine every day. Very much in touch with the elements and what they're trying to teach us. And maybe thinking about those elements of fire, earth, water, air in particular. Maybe just think about which is the element that you find most challenging. For me, it's often been earth, actually, which maybe makes sense because I sort of work within the angelic realm. So the element of air to me is, I'm really, really comfortable within that element. And I love being in the air. I even live in a house which is it's got 3 stories to it, and my bedroom is up in the loft. So I'm really sort of in the air. And the element of water, I'm a Cancerian, so I love being in water. But earth, you know, getting my hands grubby in the garden or something, for me that's really challenging. Even to sort of earth myself and stand barefoot in the garden like we are supposed to, I have to confess and put my hands up, I find that quite challenging. So to me it would be working with the element of earth. Obviously working with the element of fire is a bit more challenging because we're not talking about putting yourself in the fire. But in all seriousness, the meditation I recorded this morning is very much about bringing in Metatron's orange flame within you. So symbolically working with the element of fire, imagining that fire as being a purifying thing. Those of you that are in the winter months watching this and actually have fires within your home, whether it is an open fire or whether it is a wood burner or something like that, remembering that fire is purifying. So you could be writing letters, getting feelings and emotions out of your body and then burning it in the fire, you know, seeing that as a sort of a transformational thing to do. air. It's obviously about getting out there, getting outside. I'm being told here that a few people watching this are people that spend too much time indoors, probably too much time online, too much time hiding away indoors. And Metatron is saying, come on, get yourself out there in the elements, even on a really cloudy, horrible, rainy, yucky day. Get yourself out there, because there are things to be learned from being in the elements. So I've talked a little bit about that, and also about magic as well. Also, I feel as though the symbolism on this card is the cup, and the cup is sort of overflowing. So that is a nice energy. And also, as I'm looking at that, there are two cups. Can you see that? There's two cups, and they're flowing towards each other. So it feels as though this is a month also for getting the balance right in terms of giving and receiving, because those two cups are flowing into each other in equal ways. So it's this thing about making sure that your energy is you're giving, but you're also receiving. And those of us that are healers or are givers naturally, very much a time to not overdo it this month of November. We've got the card of realization, which I feel sort of goes with the alchemy card. In fact, it did follow it. Again, sorry, it's this card here. Can you see that? Rather beautiful image. It's of a man, a woman, a baby. But again, it's this whole thing about stretching up, you know, reaching up to new beginnings, new opportunities that are there for us. But also I'm doing this because I feel as though the 11th is about pulling down energy through our body. This is what the meditation is all about pulling down Metatron's energy through our body, through our chakra system, through our skeletal system, down into the earth. And to do that means that we can realize who we really are. It's an aid and it's a help. We've got three cards here which talk about shells. Funny, but we've got one card which is the Six of Shells, which is about nurturing. We've got the Two of Shells, which is enrichment, and we've got the Elementa of Shells. So we've got these lovely cards that have all got images to do with shells on them. And I'm just going to ask Metatron what that is about. Why are we getting the symbolism of the shell? And I feel as though I need a very gentle energy for that. And I'm going to choose the pale pink energy here, because it feels a soft, loving energy. They're just bringing through an energy of real love and compassion and gentleness for ourselves. And I'm being shown the way that shells lie on the sand all over the beach in many different places, and they are wherever the sea has deposited them. And many of you have had months, years even, where you feel as though you have been flung from pillar to place. Situations have overtaken you. A feeling of being out of control, like the sea can be out of control at times. And it's as though you have all been actually placed where you are meant to be this November. And to actually see yourself as a beautiful shell that has landed where it is at this moment in time. Knowing also that the sea of change can come in at any moment and take you to a new beginning or a new place where you need to go. And very much like the shell that can move and is flexible and allows the water to take it where it needs to go, you need to be like that also. There is a gentleness that comes through with this energy. And I'm just reaching here for a shell I have here, which I like. It's getting quite dark. I'm going to put a light on behind me if you don't mind, so let me just do that. That's a little bit better, isn't it? Obviously, looking at light and talking about light, I don't want to be put into the dark, so I love this shell. This is just a very gentle shell. It's not one I found on the beach, it's one I bought. But increasingly, I'm looking at shells actually in my healing work. And I don't know if you remember when you were a child and used to put the shell up to your ear and you could hear the sea. I remember doing that really clearly. And what Metatron has been saying to me recently is that we can use them actually to also contact our ancestors. So if you think about putting a shell up to your ear, it's not just about what you can hear in terms of the sea. It's about bringing in different voices and different sounds and different sensations. So the shell, I feel, is something that I want to include in the mandala that I'm going to be creating on the 11th. And I encourage all of you, actually, whether you're following my work, whether you're doing the meditations or not, doesn't matter. If you can just find some time on the 11th to actually create something beautiful, to get a very small piece of white paper or a piece of white cloth, it is nice to have white behind it, and just make a mandala for the 11th. And I feel as though the shells, for me, are going to be quite central to my mandala. I'm definitely going to take that one with me. But yeah, there's something to be learnt here about the shells and about the fact that their gentleness. But actually, even though they're gentle, they are actually quite strong and they're flexible. The next two cards that I've got are very different. So we move, and this I think is about November, because November feels, although it's an easier month than October, it feels as though there are definite phases of it. You know, the 11th, which is about receiving all this energy and new light coming in. We've got the gentle energy of the shells that sort of seems to follow it, reflection and pause. And then we end, it feels like we're ending on fire. You know, there's the fiery cards here. We've got the Apprentice of Fire and the Initiate of Fire. Just putting those cards up, you can just feel the difference in the energy there. So again, we've got sort of sacred sites with this one, but it's all about, this one in particular I really love, which is like the phoenix rising from the ashes. So again, more symbolism in terms of these elements as well coming through. The last one that I picked was actually this one, which is about joy, which is the highest vibration we can really have. And it's almost as though this is what we're building up to. We're building up at long last to a time where actually we can stand in a more enlightened space in our life and be more joyful and happy, which is what it's all about. And so much was promised, you know, in 2012, at the end of 2012, that, you know, we were entering that time when everything, all our problems just melted away. It didn't happen because it was never going to happen. You know, most of us had not done the work that we needed to do, and some of us still have got a lot of work to do. And I would count myself in that as well. You know, I'm putting my own hand up here because sometimes there are still situations in our life that need to be resolved and worked through. But the end result is the joy, it is the happiness, it's always worth it. And I was talking to somebody recently about that who has totally transformed over the last year and has gone from a place with Metatron of being in a very challenging position, and job and relationships as well were difficult, and her life has completely transformed in a year. And we were talking about, you know, the fact it had been a year, really, a year of processing and growth. And it just became so apparent that if that had happened all in one go, you know, on one day, suddenly everything was transformed, your body wouldn't be able to cope with that. It really wouldn't. So it is a step-by-step process sometimes. Don't judge yourself for where you are on the path. Know that you are where you are meant to be. I want to pull one final card here from Metatron for November, which is like a guidance card for us. Feathers. Okay. Yeah, picking up the ancient sites again. I feel as though something is happening on the 11th where, okay, sorry, he's reminding me it is happening. Can you see this picture here? I think it's supposed to depict Machu Picchu, and but it doesn't matter because I'm also picking up Egypt as well and other sites at Glastonbury in the UK, for example. There are earth chakras, you know, like our body has chakras, the earth has its own chakras. Diana Cooper has written quite a lot about this in the past and highlighted where, for example, the heart chakra of the earth, which is Glastonbury, is supposed to be, where the heart centre is, where the base is. What I'm actually going to be doing on the 11th, and what we as a group are going to be doing, is we're actually going to be looking at that, and actually we're going to be trying to plot where we think these chakras are, whether the information that was brought through a few years ago is right, whether it's changed, or which ones of them are open, which ones are closed, and really trying to work with that. I feel as though my Metatron is encouraging you this month, not just to work with the elements in a more profound way, but also to maybe focus on a particular ancient site around the world. Now, it could be somewhere like Egypt, it could be somewhere like Glastonbury. I don't want to dictate too much, because you will all have a link with a particular country or place around the world which means something to you. And I would encourage you, in dream state, before you go to bed at night maybe, just ask Metatron to bring the energy of that place closer to you. Maybe you can visit it in your dreams, you can astral travel in your dreams with Metatron beside you, so it's safe to do that, and maybe within your Merkaba as well, so it's even more safe. And just bring back whatever information or knowledge it is that you need at this time in your life from that place. So I feel as though, again, he's saying magic is in the air, but it's yours for the taking, and if you don't take it, it feels like a lost opportunity this November. Okay, I'd just like to pull one more colour from behind me and leave you with that this November. So which colour is it going to be? Got to look around at all of them, sorry. I want to bring in the peace energy, the sapphire blue peace energy. So beautiful colour, it is the peace spray. And I'd just like you to feel that around yourself. This month of November, a very protective blue sapphire cloak that just enfolds you, allows you to speak your truth, keeps you safe, keeps you strong, and keeps you peaceful. Until next month, I send you lots of love. Have a good 11th of November, and I'd be very interested to see any mandalas or anything that happens to you on that day. Please write in. My email is amandaellis11, amandaellis11, Outlook. Do you know, sorry, it's been a long morning. I've recorded 2 meditations and this video. It's amandaellis11@outlook.com. And my Facebook page is Angelic Celestial Colours. Okay, you see I can hardly speak now. I just feel the energy so strongly, that peaceful energy. I'm actually going to go now and just sit with that for a little while, and I'd encourage you to as well. Much love. Have a good November. Bye.